Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So a new week of Alliance raids has started, so let's take a look at the map, at the fights of the Nightmare raids, also of the regular raids, go over some important things about the defenders, and then potentially take a look at some of the offensive options that might best be suited for these fights. And there are a couple of very important things to know about them for sure, but let's just break them down first. So final boss for Nightmare Raids is Super Scroll, which I think is fairly fine as a final boss. He has reduced power gain potency, and Super Scroll itself is not like the worst fight to begin with. Spot is unchanged. I think there's not much wrong to it. You just need to know how to punish his special attacks, which is easy. You just, again, they're quite long. And then, if he does get to the 5 spots, then you need to be able to effectively trigger it, wait out the untouchable, and then carry on with the fight. Keep in mind that vigilance passives can be provided in the fight if you can be aggressive enough as well. Then Spider-Man Supreme. Now this is still going to be a bit of a problem. Key things to know is that Spider-Man no longer applies Spider Seal buffs on either champion's medium attacks. That is huge and that is good. That is making a lot more champions or viable counters to him. When burst damage from last 3 hits of special 2 on nullifying Spider Seals is reduced by 75%. That's obviously helpful as well, but he still can be a tricky and problematic defender, especially for some of the classes. And then Ebony Maw reduced the potency of the degeneration effects by 50%. And, well, outside of that, again, just kind of need to know how to fight Ebony Maw. Be able to knock him down is kind of ideal for this type of fight. And as far as it goes for the regular raids, final boss is Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman's shield size reduced by 90% and damage reduction from the shield is reduced by 75%. That's definitely making the fight significantly easier. And the cool thing is that against Invisible Woman, you don't have to use like full-on raids revives as well, because you can often just heal up during the fight. And then the mini bosses, Moondragon, nothing too tricky. If you can't Dex level 2 and you don't know it fully, just bait out level 1s against Spider-Man Miles Morales. Either don't use special attacks, or have like vigilance or some sort of miscounter active. And Shuri is probably gonna be slightly annoying, to be honest, because you can't parry her and her specials take forever and do cheap damage. But overall, more or less a straightforward fight. I think most people know how to fight Shuri. But let's get to the subject of the main issue. First of all, Spider-Man Supreme. Now, even though he doesn't apply the buffs, Spider Seal buffs on his mediums, there are still important things to note in his nodes and in his abilities as well. Number 1 is that you have Raids Boon Vigilance. So whenever attacker gains roll force, they gain 10-second Vigilance passive. This has to be absolutely huge in the fight. It will help you. It will give you like a safety net for sure. And yeah, that's obviously very, very good to have. And that is active for all of the fights in this Raids week. So if you're gaining your Raids roll force charges fast, and then for instance, you have very, very good ability to bypass the miss. However, problem typically is going to be ramp up until you can do such thing. And especially with Spider-Man, even though he does not apply the Spider Seals on the medium attacks anymore, on either champion's medium, that's super important, still, unblockable or unstoppable buff will trigger it. So he's going to get the blessing of the Astral Form. And that is one big issue here, because if you do look at the champion pool, especially for tacticians, a lot of champions and many of our kind of like favorite options for raids do rely on it, that unblockable or unstoppable or trigger it fairly frequently. For instance, some people use Animal Warlock. That's out of the window there completely. I think Juggernaut, which is my favorite rage champion, is out of the window, because obviously triggering Unstoppable will make him go invisible. And Null is gaining unstoppable and unblockable buffs. Hulkling is gaining unblockable if you're hitting the block and playing him as you should. Cersei is doing the same thing. So she's probably going to be very tricky to use, especially whilst you are able to ramp up and be that. Yeah, so I do think that with Tactician pool, it's going to be a bit tricky, especially with Spider-Man Supreme. So, that said, obviously there are better options, I think, in other classes who in general do not rely on buffs at all, and that would be the type of fight for them. Purgatory is still in the pool, for instance, and I think Purgatory is going to be a perfectly viable option with the dot boost as always, or many of your regular options. I think the assault pool, you can just about use most of the champions as you would have before anyways, and do very, very well with your typical hacks. And looking at Vanguard as well, it's champions that typically do not really gain unblockable or unstoppable buffs. So you are kind of set there. So my advice is ideally, this is a fight that Tactician takes it easy on. If you're Tactician, let somebody else do the majority of Spider-Man Supreme. If that is not something you want to do, again, you definitely do want to avoid Juggy and Hulklings and Nulls and what have you. That said, I do think Venom actually should be very, very crazy good with all of these nodes. I actually plan on bringing in Venom because not a single champion here is bleed immune. And, Venom inherently has a lot of synergy with an unparalleled buffs hack, especially if you do have the Venom Relic active. So that is probably going to be my plan for the fight. I think Medusa still should be fine, obviously. And one thing that I noticed with raids in general is you do not want to use champions that slow playstyle or slow special attacks. In my experience, when I tried Serpent, for instance, and you pumping those special attacks quite slowly, not what you want to be using. Or Onslaught, for instance. You want fast-paced, aggressive champions. I think Venom is going to be a very solid option to try out here, for sure. Assault, again, I do think vast majority of people are going to use Purgatory. If you don't have Purgatory, let somebody else be Assault. There's no reason for Purgatory not work, basically, for any of these fights, I think. That is what people are going to go with. And previously, I know a lot of people used Luke Cage for the Vanguard. I expect that to continue. I have seen Hulk Nefaria put in quite a bit of work. I've seen Count Nefaria and Hulk put in quite a bit of work. But I think overall, the best performer for most people was Luke Cage, which I believe is here for the previous week. And again, I do suspect that Luke Cage can put in a ton of work. Silk as well can, I think, be amazing for this. There's also nothing inherently stopping us from using the armor hacks with Colossus, Red Skull, or the Iron Man. Because I think all of the fights that can be done with them too. So there we go. I think those have been just about the best options. I think here's going to be Medusa, Venom this time around. Probably not Juggernaut, but these should be working out fine. Angela's probably doing fine with unparalleled buffs as well. Scream should be fine. I see a reason not to. Yeah. What do you guys think, though? What do you guys think will be your better options? Because again, looking at my previous Alliance week, it was a lot of Purgatories, a lot of Luke Cage, a lot of Juggernaut, some Count Nefarious, a few other champions. But there we go. This is ultimately the second week of Alliance raids. The great thing is, obviously, we do have access of revives because of Kabam's screw-ups in last month, and because of the way these quests are structured. Like, I was able to carry over in 7 revives from the previous week as well. And I do have some in compensation, so we're probably going to be able to blitz this out fairly quickly. The downside is, I'm starting with... I'm on the left side, on the left path, by the way. The downside is we're starting with Spider-Man Supreme, which is the fight that I look forward to the least, for sure. But, ultimately, I am still absolutely loving Raids 1. I think this is a great idea, and I wish, to be honest, like, I just want to be doing more raids, less Alliance quests. This is way better. Anyways, because I cannot believe how free I kind of felt from daily MCOC chores because of raids, because we finished everything on like day 2, and life was good. And luckily for us and my group, we had finished our lane before all the issues with Rintra and Sasquatch, and we didn't get affected by it at all. So, I think that's it. Let me know what is your plan. Kind of explain to you about the Vigilance node. I explained the change to the champions, as well as some of the potentially best counters. or suggested best counters. Let me know your thoughts, who you plan on using, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have